Welcome to the School of Wordcraft and Worldmancy. This is Feedback Frenzy.
Hello everyone, welcome to another Feedback Frenzy. I know it says Submit Saturday, I just haven't changed the names on the graphics yet. I'm glad to have you here. We have from TempestKwake, we have some fiction that we are going to critique. And if you would like to have your content critiqued, please visit wgc.bz/submit and you'll be added to the queue. So thank you so much, Tempest, for sharing this with us today. And we will go through and read this. Okay, no, I don't need to reset that. I can do view, zoom. There we go. 150. Oh yeah. Okay. One thing now let me go. One thing I used a Pro Writer, and I really like it. The only problem is on the Google Doc when you zoom in, the things get all wonky. So if I just zoom the screen, then this will this will just take care of it. Okay. Moon's Day, the second of flowering, 1232. Oh, and I found my pencil. So my epic pen. So we can turn that on. Yushina finished mopping the downstairs hallway with a small sigh. When Elder Sota had told her she would be moving in with Elder Osa, she had been excited. Elder Osa was the elder in charge of the young archers not yet in army service. Archery was the one area of combat where Ushina excelled. She had thought she would receive special training. Instead, like so many times before, she was an unpaid servant. She cooked, she cleaned, she waited on the crotchety elder. It was true that Elder Osa was nearly 70, and there were many things she could no longer do. Ushina didn't mind helping out, but she had no training outside of the basic archery training everyone else had. Okay, that's not good. This is okay. Task manager, no longer responding. Okay, maybe I should have rebooted before we got here. Okay. End process. Okay, so one thing, okay, be moving, she would move in. Okay, it was true that, let's see, let's change this to creative. Fantasy. Okay. All right, grade 4. Oh, grade 3. This is good. Passive voice. Okay, not bad. No complex conjunctions. Okay, slow pacing. That's interesting. Dialogue tags. Remove some dialogue tags to help write. Okay. Unusual dialogue tags. Stick to said and asked instead of others. Okay. All right, so this is an interesting. Okay, so that's an interesting overview that we're getting here. Okay, well, let me just move that out of the way. It was true that Elder Osa was nearly 70, and there were many things she could no longer do. Oshina didn't mind helping out, but she had no training outside of the basic archery training everyone else had. Okay, I try to avoid the same noun. No, that's not working. I try to avoid using the same noun twice in the sentence because we know what the sentence is. So that's just my thing. Can't turn on my pencil. This is dumb. With another stifled sigh, she went upstairs with the broom. It was dusty here, too, worse than downstairs. Alderosa didn't usually go upstairs anymore. Alderosa rarely went upstairs. With the way her knees were, however, Ushina's room was on the second floor, and she was sick of the dust. The caretakers and elders who had raised her hadn't always been consistent about their lessons. Consistent with. Interesting choice. Consistent with their lessons? Well, because with their lessons and about their lessons kind of have a different connotation. I'm not sure. They just feel different in the mouth. About their lessons. Like about their lessons content as opposed to with their lessons frequency. That's the kind of the feeling that I'm getting with the change of those words. But she had certainly learned to clean. The dust up here irritated her nose. It was time to clean things properly. I'm not a big fan of the ellipses, or whatever the three dots are. I'm not sure if it really provides much. Okay, so let's take the first three paragraphs in its entirety. Really good introduction of Ushina. We have a good conflict. We have a situation. It painted a really good picture that you have here. So Ushina, we know she's younger. She was excited, and her hopes have been dashed. Really good introduction, and we already know a lot about her from that. You just in the second paragraph, you talked about Elder Osa and how she's expecting this, but is now getting this. And then you talked about her environment. So within these three short paragraphs, you've done a wonderful job of world building, conflict building, and character development. So three really good things in here that you've done very quickly. And she's not afraid of hard work. I like that because she's going to now clean up properly. We know about the caretakers and elders. Yeah. We know that she's a combat archer. I think that's really cool. So a person who's skilled but is then not being used to their full potential. Again, good internal conflict. We already see, because I love characters who desire more than their situations. And we'll see soon how well she, I'm not sure, how well they use that agency. Okay. She went down to the far end of the hall and began to sweep up the thick dust. That's going to say passive. Oh, okay. And swept up. Yeah, I can understand this readability issue, but she's beginning to sweep. If maybe instead of just swept, she went up to the far end of the hall and attacked the thick dust with her broom. That would, to say that she began to sweep.
Great job, sprinters. It's time to rest.
Accurate.
Marchers keep going.
But it doesn't give us an opportunity to really know how she's feeling. And where you can say she attacked with the broom, that could be something that would evoke a little bit more of her character and understanding that no, this isn't just she. What's the opposite of an opposite approach, and she glowered at the thick dust, and or you could we how does she react to the dust? How does she emotionally respond to the dust? I think could let us know more about the character than the simple thing is she's sweeping. She sneezed several times as she swept, but at last had a small pile of dust at the top of the stairs. Not wanting to run up and down the stairs with the dustpan, she opened the door to the next room she wanted to sweep. She had not been shown in this room yet. It was an ancient study, filled with old books and a few scrolls by the window. It was even dustier here than it was in the hall. She sneezed and went to the open window on the far wall. Should she even be in here? But it really was badly in need of sweeping and dusting. Okay, again, with here, don't tell us how bad it is. Paint us a visual picture of how bad it is. Cobwebs, dust bunnies, piles of lint, crumbs in the corners, or not in the corners, just flat out in the middle of the room. You're telling us that it was in a need of sweeping and dusting, but you could really add a lot of details to this ancient study. Like, are there wood floors? The cracks in the wood floors were choked with crumbs of previous meals, or the evidence of rat droppings or mouse droppings in the corner made her slightly gag. The dust colored the deep mahogany an ashen gray. A great opportunity. And unfortunately, showing takes so many more words than telling. And when we have like a 5,000 word limit for a short story and stuff like that, it really, is difficult to show. You just want to tell what's going on. But this is a great opportunity to not just say how badly it needed sweeping, dusting, but you can show us by the things that she observes and the thing they observe, and the things that Ushina observes would be a great indicator of her personality or a foreshadowing of what will happen in the future. Does she notice a globe, or does she notice potion bottles? Does she notice books hinting that she's going to read something? Is she noticing weapons on a stand or in a display? What she notices in a room is probably more important than what's in the room itself. But maybe Elder Osa wouldn't mind. Yeah, good. As she leaned over the rack stacked with scrolls to open the window, she knocked a scroll off the pile and onto the floor. It rolled open along the dusty floor, cracking slightly with age as the wooden dowel in the middle rolled away across the room. No, she groaned. She ran after the dowel and retrieved it, and then knelt in the dust to roll the scroll back up again. It looked old. She was lucky the old parchment hadn't disintegrated. She started to roll it around the dowel again and paused, seeing the signature at the bottom. Zefiev. Had the mad god written something? What could it be? Why hadn't she been taught about this scroll in school? Was it a secret? She glanced at the doorway, listening for Elder Osa.
Sprinters begin now. Marchers keep going.
From the sound of the heavy snores drifting up the stairs, the elder was napping. She was already going to be in trouble for dropping the scroll. Surely it wouldn't be worse than if she was to read it. Okay, see, this is a good thought process that you're having us understand about her. in for a penny, in for a pound. If I'm going to get in trouble, I might as well get in trouble for something good. See, I like the characterization you have on that sentence. She leaned over to read closer. It was written in an archaic script she could hardly make out, but it wasn't unreadable. Ignoring the dust accumulating on her clothing, she leaned in closer. Okay. She's holding a scroll that she's leaning into. Wouldn't it be more... she's sitting on the floor in the dust holding an ancient paper. Now, which is easier for a person to do? To hold the parchment and lean forward, or just to bring the parchment closer to her face? Just an interesting choice of physical actions. Because if it was a book on a desk, I could totally see leaning in because she wouldn't want to disturb things. But she's already disturbed it. She's already ignoring the dust, And just a thing. Interesting. I never meant what I had done. It was a joke, a jest between brothers. It was all that was meant. Larius would not listen to me, and now I cannot earn his forgiveness. My siblings have judged me. Mother Sky and Father Earth have sentenced me, and I will carry out that penance. For 500 years I will sit alone and undying in my prison. I must kill anyone who dare disturb me before my time is up. This grieves me, but it must be done. It was part of the bargain I had made. This is the only warning I may give to my people. Please stay away from my prison. It is not worth the price you will pay to seek me out. Even after my penance is over, I wish to be left alone. Mother Sky, I pray that my people will not suffer for what I have done, and I know that they will. The Lorraine are angry with me, as they should be. I fear they will make my people pay for what I have done in blood. Be strong, my people. Zifiev. Puzzled, Ushina carefully rolled the scroll closed, taking care with the old parchment. With? No, I like with better. She would have to ask Elderosa about this, whether she got in trouble or not. Yeah, whether or not she got in trouble. Yeah, I'd accept that one. What had the mad god meant about Lurius? I'm going to pronounce that word differently every single time I see it. She set the scroll gently back on the rack and bent to dust off her trousers. She stepped back toward the broom. She had leaned against the door. Just as she was reaching for it, she heard a rattle and the scrape of parchment on parchment. She whirled in time to see an arm pulling back from the window with the scroll she had just read in hand. Thief! She snarled and vaulted through the open window. She landed on the awning under the window and scanned the street below. A Lurian with his blonde hair and blue eyes. She leapt off the awning, and he turned to run. She sprinted after him, ignoring the querulous call. Oh, okay, well, wait. I'll come back 10 minutes from now and figure out what that word meant. Asking what was wrong. Stop, thief! Would you really notice somebody's blue eyes standing on an awning over a window on the street below? He turned to run. why had he stopped running? If he was a thief, he grabbed the scroll and he was just getting out of there. Why would he stop, look at her so that she could see the blue eyes from probably 20 feet away? I mean, I can't even tell my own kids' eyes color, and that's with me like a foot away from their eyes, Yeah. "Stop, thief!" she yelled, hoping someone ahead would stop the man. But the streets were empty. It was going to be up to her to catch him. He turned the corner, and several seconds later she lunged around it after him, her feet skidding as she tried not to slow down. Okay, what kind of road is she on? Is it dust? Is it dirt road? Is it paved? Is it cobblestone? Oh, heaven help me if that's cobblestone. She'd twist an ankle immediately. I'm not sure. I think the only kind of road that you could really skid on as a runner would either be like a wet asphalt, a whetstone. Yeah, you could, a flat whetstone. Yeah, you could skid on that, but not a cobblestone. Yeah, okay. Sprinting was really not her strength. She was better suited for distance running, slow, steady, and methodical. The Lyrian was faster than she was, but not by much. Still, he was gaining ground ahead of her, and unless someone by some miracle intervened, she had no prayer of catching him. "Wind, aid me," she panted as she ran. The playful wind following her through the streets picked up, tugging at her to go faster. Oh, that's cool. She felt stronger for it and tried to quicken her strides. The thief ahead of her turned another corner and she smiled. He would be trapped. There was no way out of that old dead end. She bounced off the wall as she rounded the corner and saw he was running directly for a building she knew. She felt a sharp stab of terrified horror. Did he not know where he was? "Stop!" she tried to call him in clumsily Lyrian. "Danger! Zefiev!" He kept running. She tried again in Zexvian. "That Zexvian's cage, you idiot! You'll be killed!" She put in an extra spurt of energy and sprinted with everything she had left and a little she didn't, trying to reach him in time. She almost caught him as she stepped to the open door, but he stepped inside before she could reach him. She slapped the door frame to stop herself and fell backward. Scuttling away on her ramp to get away, she watched him, feeling sick, and knew there was nothing she could do to save him. Oh, wait, we did this before. It was the babysitter. The babysitter that was going after the toddler. Oh, this is much better. Okay, I remember. Much better. Okay, yeah, instead of chasing a toddling babysitter, there's an old woman. Okay, yes. Yes. Okay. Now, I don't remember all of the details from the previous discussion we had or this, but yeah, much more relatable, much better introduction of Yushina. I felt like it was a different story, but then Zefiev, I go, wait, I know that name.
Sprinters and marchers, time is up.
Yeah, I never meant. Okay, so this was, yeah, okay. All right. So comparing from what I read previously to this, the setup is so much better. There's line edits and grammar stuff like that, but as far as the content goes, I like this a lot more. I feel like it's more realistic. I like that she jumped out the window. That may sound weird. But unless this, jumping off of a window, still, that's, 7, 8 feet. I hesitate to do that at the swimming pool. But yeah. The skidding, I like the fact that there was a chase, but there are enough details within the chase itself that gives me, that kicks me out of the story. Seeing his eyes, he turned to run. He should have already been running. He would never have stopped. She still tried to warn him. I like that. The wind aided me. That was cool. So she has some magical power. The sharp stab of terrified horror. Okay, I like that. He kept running. Okay, let's read this last paragraph again. She put in an extra spurt of energy and sprinted with everything she had left, and a little she didn't. Trying to reach him in time. I don't know if you need that to try to reach him in time. I think that's kind of implied. She almost caught him as she stopped to open the door. As she stopped to open the door? But he stepped... Or is he stopping... Or he opened the door. But he stepped inside before she could reach him. She slapped the door frame to stop herself and fell backward, scuttling away on her rump to get away. She watched him, feeling sick, and knew there was nothing she could do to save him. Okay, that's all right. Much more proactive. Interesting character. Someone that intentionally went in there and using the cage, Zefiev's cage, as a as a hideout or as a way, and she slapped the door frame to stop herself and fell backwards. Okay. She slapped the door frame and fell backwards. Just thinking about that. If I was a young woman going straight forward at a open door frame, and I could not stop myself, I don't know if slapping the door would be enough to, one, stop me, or two, to make me fall backwards, and would force me to scuttle on her rump to get away. I could see, though, that she about to fall in, she jumped, she leaned to the side and smacked her whole body. I wouldn't use the word smacked, but she smacked her whole body into the door frame, and she would literally bounce off onto her butt. Okay, slapping usually refers just to a hand, but if she just leaned over enough, if she didn't lean enough, she would have it would cause her to turn and fall in. But if she leaned over enough and just ran into the wall, that would be enough to knock her back on her butt. Yeah. Things that are awesome. Okay, let's just go through here again. Things that are awesome. Much improved scenario. I really like Ushina and her proactiveness. She is not afraid of getting in trouble. She's physically adept. She can chase down a runner. Yeah, much more believable, and really good character building. Bored? I was not bored during the reading. Confused? I think we've covered the points that once the thief got into play, things kind of went confusing. Not because of what was happening, but of how it was being described. The ideas that were in my mind didn't really match what was in the in the fiction. Constellation System, welcome. Thank you for the raid. We're in the middle of a fiction critique. So, confused. Delete? No, I don't think there's anything to delete in here. Expand. Definitely do a lot more showing of the minor details that will help paint a more rich picture. Hey, Coda. The having that rich picture, I think would really draw us in there. Focusing around the environment and how she interacts with the environment. Really good job with the dusting, and we're focusing on the dusting, but I think if we had, we'd be able to paint a more vivid picture in it, in other ways. So, yeah, I hope that helps, but yeah, I am definitely interested in knowing what happens next. And yeah, really good stuff. Thank you so much, Tempest, for sharing that with us. And thank you, everyone who's here for those of you who are here for this critique. If you would like to have your content critiqued, please submit your content at wgc.bz/submit. Anytime, any day, and it'll be added to the queue for the next Feedback Frenzy. So thank you so much, everyone. Have a good one, and until next time, keep on writing.
Thanks for watching this Feedback Frenzy. Be sure to show your support by liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and clicking the notification bell. WriterGreg offers coaching sessions to help bring your world to life, create compelling stories, and accomplish your creative goals. Please visit wgc.bz/coaching for more details.